Breaking down the deals, data, and disruption shaping global markets. You're listening to The Daily Ledger with Dennis Sert.
Hey folks, it is Friday, November 14th, 2025. You're listening to The Daily Ledger Show. I am your host, Dennis Sert. Good to be with you here this morning. Pretty exciting stuff. Got a good show for us today. I just noticed I'm still in my early morning garb. It's funny because I get up pretty early, around 5:30 or 6 these days. Still dark, a little bit cold out. So I put on some sweats, put on this hoodie, and then later on in the morning, I'll sort of just go back I'll sort of like shed a few layers, just have a t-shirt on. But I didn't do that this morning, but yeah, it's okay. Sometimes it just be like that. Okay, let's dive right into what we got for you here today. Let's start with our first story. So today, we're seeing more of what we were talking about yesterday and also a few weeks ago, kind of about tech sell-offs, AI sell-offs. Seems like economists, investors, institutional investors, etc., are a little bit worried about AI perhaps being overinflated in the markets. So here's this article from the Financial Times. Global stock sell-offs. Sell-off deepens over tech fears and U.S. rate cut doubts. So this is coming from London, but still. Investors are worried about high inflation, high valuation of companies, and boom in AI spending. Global stocks slid on Friday as concerns over high valuations of tech companies and doubts about the future path of U.S. interest rates spread to markets in Asia and Europe. Yeah, I mean, now apparently people are talking about perhaps a rate cut not coming in December. So I don't know about that. Let me see if I can pull it up. I thought I had it queued. Paula Market, Fed decision in December. Yeah. So yesterday it was looking okay, but then you look at this like huge dip, kind of starting yesterday evening to today, the 25 basis points decrease that sort of people were expecting with high probability around 72%. Now it's apparently it dipped below 50% at some point. I read that in an article. It looks like now it's at 53%. So just shy of above a coin toss. And then no change is quite high now. It's at 44%, whereas before it was like at 26%. So yeah, it's looking like there may not be another rate cut in December. We'll have to see how things pan out, but there was that dip in confidence in that today. So that's sort of what this article kind of referred to as well. So let's read. Futures contracts tracking the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 index were pointing to a 1.5% fall on Friday morning, with the S&P 500 poised to drop 1% as jitters about the boom in AI spending gripped markets. Yeah, so it seems like most of the tech stocks are down right now. Then what did we have here for the Dow Jones? Yeah, it looks like that's down 0.9%. And then the NASDAQ down about 2.3%. Yeah, so there's that. Okay. But I will say David Towell, who's an economist, and he's also the host of the Finance Daily Show on X. You should check it out. I listen to it every morning. He said, just regarding this, that it's not a real sell-off. And he was talking about how he said that if you've sort of been around, real sell-offs are when you're like 20% down, and it goes on for like weeks and weeks, like not this 4% down that we're seeing. So that's what he was saying on today's show. So do with that what you will. I wanted to move on to this new story that it's not in the headlines. Well, it's not it's not on the front page of the Wall Street Journal right now. I saw it yesterday evening. Verizon to cut about 15,000 jobs. Telecommunications company is looking to reduce costs as it works to stem customer losses. Oh no. So this is joining Meta, it's joining UPS, it's joining Amazon. So Verizon is like regarding cutting jobs. It's not, I mean, again, we're kind of going with the theme of job cutting in terms of like the US economy. It's not looking too good. Verizon Communications is planning to cut roughly 15K jobs, looking to reduce costs as it contends with increased competition for both wireless service and home internet customers, according to people familiar with the matter. The cuts, for the largest ever for the carrier, are set to take place in the next week. The people said the majority of the reduction is expected to be made through layoffs. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, again, I think I said this like earlier this week, or maybe last week, but I mean, it's looking more and more like these companies like don't want engineers anymore. They don't want software engineers. They don't want, labor. I mean, it's kind of tough. Yeah. So, I mean, again, touched on this, but it's like I'm in startup land right now. Like something has to go like terribly, terribly bad for a long time for me to delve back into the job market. I think I'm going to try and make startup land work, but that's just me, not to project. But I think that I'm, there are a lot of people like me, kind of the Gen Z software engineering background, who are kind of looking at these job cuts and the labor market. And it's like, kind of sitting here jobless, and it's like, oh no, it's like, kind of thinking about their future. So maybe I'll leave it there, but that's Verizon cutting 15K jobs. I saw this post by Unusual Whales this morning. Moving on, Americans estimate they need 1.46 million to retire comfortably in 2025 per Northwestern Mutual. In 2020, respondents said they needed 951K to retire comfortably. Yeah, wow. So, an increase of about 500K in terms of to contend with like living standards while retired. I mean, that's kind of nuts. Kind of shows the state of the economy right now. I wish it was better. Yeah, so that's what I have to say on that. Okay, moving on. So we're just rapid firing these stories here. So it looks like, so this is from the Wall Street Journal. Amazon and Microsoft back effort that would restrict Nvidia's exports to China. Legislation would give tech leaders preferential access to chips. So this is a little bit more what we were talking about. Remember last week we talked about how Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said all the way in like June or July, he was like, oh, we don't sell our first best chips or second best chip. We don't even sell our third best chips to China. And then China kind of stopped buying for a little bit, or decreased how much they're buying from American chip makers. And then there was a whole thing. It was like, no, we didn't. Probably behind closed doors. Oh, we didn't really mean that. They didn't actually say that like in the media, but I'm kind of guessing that something like that was said to walk it back. Otherwise, they wouldn't be buying chips. Yeah. Anyways, so there's that. Amazon.com is joining Microsoft in supporting legislation that threatens to further limit Nvidia's ability to export to China, a rare split between the chip designer and two of its biggest customers. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's because Nvidia's Jensen Huang says China, quote, will win AI race with the US. So it's like, I'm really wondering why both Amazon and Microsoft are kind of trying to cajole Nvidia into not exporting to China as much. Maybe it's because Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, is saying that China's going to win. I mean, I don't know whether or not he's right. I think the US probably has more leverage on this front, but I'm just saying that it's kind of funny that, if you're wondering like, well, why is this happening? Why is this in the the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Well, it wasn't too long ago, published November 5th, that Mr. Wong had his comments there. So, there's that to kind of keep into account. We'll have to keep following this story. Okay, now I want to sort of end the headlines on this article I saw this morning on TechCrunch. ChatGPT launches pilot group chats across Japan, New Zealand, South Korea, and Taiwan. OpenAI on Thursday introduced a group chat feature for ChatGPT. The feature currently being tested in select regions, sort of in East Asia, lets users collaborate directly within the app. So this is kind of interesting because, we've heard that Sam Altman has been kind of wanting to kind of change the go-to-market / main front of ChatGPT. So that is either hardware or social media, kind of how Grok is connected to X. So I guess in to that tune, they launched the Sora app. I haven't heard a lot from it recently, like Sora, that is. But yeah, I have been seeing a bunch of Sora generated content on Instagram Reels and stuff. But getting back to the point, looks like OpenAI is really trying to get into new frontiers. So this group chat feature is kind of interesting. I'm kind of hoping they bring this to the US. So Kate Park says in this article, the ChatGPT maker describes this pilot as a, quote, small first step towards creating a more shared experience in the app. Early users will be invited to provide feedback, which the company says will help shape how the feature eventually expands to more regions and offerings. Group chats are invitation only. Yeah, so, talking about how you can start a group chat. That's kind of fun. We should do that. Fun, just on this note, I started, I have a couple buddies in New York, and, I visited a few of my friends there, and my buddy, we decided we started a Google Maps sort of shared list together, and it's kind of cool because he'll add some places he's gone to, like restaurants or whatever, bars, and then I'll add some that I've gone to and really like, and we both add commentary, and so it's kind of cool. I kind of got reminded of that after seeing this article and thinking about this feature, about this group chat feature with ChatGPT. So I'm looking forward. Okay, let's move on to Byte AI. This show, of course, is brought to you by Byte AI. Byte AI is a news aggregator and kind of an investment co-pilot. I would definitely recommend basically downloading Byte AI. It's available as an iOS app, and it's also available as a web app. Like so, if you access app.byteai.me, but you can go on the landing page on byteai.me. So that's BYTEAI.me. And if you use the discount code podcast20, you can get a 20% discount when you're accessing the Stripe checkout via the web app. Okay, so let's go into the only non-neutral thing we have in our portfolio here, stock ticker. Okay, so Microsoft is underbought. RSI. Oh, and by the way, just real quick, Byte AI is not a stock advisor. It's not a financial advisor. Make sure you know that past success doesn't guarantee future results. So that being said, let's read. RSI 39.65 signals a mildly overbought condition, and the price is sitting near the lower Bollinger Band with a very narrow bandwidth, suggesting a potential mean reversion bounce rather than continued downside. While the MACD is close to the signal line with a slightly bearish tilt, the setup supports a risk managed by the downs scenario as markets could reclaim some upside on positive AI cloud momentum. The news sentiment is mildly bullish with AI and cloud themes underpinning longer-term demand, with the large backlog, 392 billion, provides a durable backdrop. The stock has shown recent weakness today, but has been modestly higher on the week, indicating positive near-term resilience. Given these factors, an underbought stance with a tight stop on entry and a plan to scale into strength could improve risk-adjusted returns, leveraging the expected mean reversion and favorable sentiment without overextending exposure. Okay, I don't normally read the whole thing, but I was kind of curious. Okay, yeah, so overarching macro theme is the AI megatrend and cloud adoption. All right, yeah, that's cool. Okay, Microsoft. So you know what that means when it's green. That means I am going to buy. Of course, I'm not your financial advisor, and this is kind of a show just for your entertainment. But buy AI is something I use every day, especially while trading, and I would definitely sort of encourage anyone like-minded to also do so. Okay, Microsoft. Okay, we don't have too much capital on hand. $9. All right. Well, just as a sort of just as a power play, I'll put $9 in there as a symbolic move, rather. Okay, I sort of just want to act on anything that's not neutral. It's interesting that Byte AI said that everything else was neutral in this portfolio today, given that everything is kind of down. And that's why I like Byte AI, to be honest, because, you know, if you were simply going off of, oh, okay, well, it's super down, so I should buy. Well, you know, you don't want to try and catch a falling knife, as they say either, right? So that's why I sort of like Byte AI, because it takes into account all these technical indicators like the rolling strength index, relative strength index, RSI, MACD curve versus a signal curve, Bollinger Bands, right? As well as the new sentiment, and then kind of distills it for you in this underbought, overbought, or neutral sort of stamp. And you can read why, of course, as we did. Okay, so I think we can leave the show there. So let's go ahead and close out on that note. Yeah, so I think I've plugged enough on that. Use discount code podcast20 when you do Stripe checkout again via the web app. Happy Friday, you guys. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Make sure to make some money today, or potentially minimize losses today. That's what I'll be doing. And again, have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Thank you.